At my anniversary party, my sister-in-law accused me of having an affair. Then I showed everyone. She's sleeping with someone else. I have proof. 70 guests turned to look at me at the same time. My husband's champagne glass stopped halfway to his mouth. My mother-in-law gasped like she'd rehearsed it. Vanessa held up her phone, smiling the exact smile she wore at every family photo where she wasn't the center of attention. My name is Amanda Reeves. I'm 39. I've been married to Ryan Whitlock for 15 years, and that Saturday night in Charleston, South Carolina, we were celebrating it at the Palmetto Grove Country Club with everyone we loved. Ryan's sister, Vanessa Whitlock Doyle, stood up in the middle of my own anniversary toast and accused me of having an affair. She didn't whisper it in a hallway. She didn't pull me aside. She stood up with a microphone that wasn't hers, tapped it twice, and announced it to the entire room like she was reading a headline she'd been saving for months. By the time he died, the company was worth $4.2 million, and his will split it 3 ways among his grandchildren, Ryan, Vanessa, and their brother Peter, with one condition attached to Ryan's third. Ryan's share of the company only fully vested if his marriage remained intact through our 15th wedding anniversary. If we divorced before that date, his third reverted and split equally between Vanessa and Peter. That night was our 15th anniversary. Midnight was the vesting deadline. That night, I didn't think about any of that walking into that party. I thought about the dress I'd bought, the playlist Ryan made without telling me, the fact that we'd made it 15 years without a single serious fight about money, in-laws, or anything that usually breaks people. Vanessa had never liked me. Not really. Not since the engagement party where she told our mutual friends I'd gotten lucky landing a Whitlock. She'd married a man named Bradley Doyle 11 years ago, a real estate agent whose commissions came and went with the market, and every family gathering since had come with some small comment about how some people had it easier than others. She never said my name in those comments. She never had to. Vanessa had clearly been thinking about the vesting deadline for a long time. A photo, grainy but unmistakable. Me, at a hotel bar, leaning close to a man with dark hair, laughing, his hand near mine on the table. My stomach dropped through the floor. That's Marcus Ellery, I said. He's a client. We were at a business dinner in April. Everyone can see what that looks like. Amanda, I never would have expected this from you. My aunt-in-law, Patricia, the loudest woman at every family gathering, said loud enough for 3 tables to hear, well, you know what they say about quiet ones. Bradley, Vanessa's husband, sat there the entire time saying nothing at all, staring at his plate the way my own father had once stared at his during a different family confrontation years ago. The particular silence of a man who suspects something but has decided it's easier not to ask. Nobody asked Vanessa where she got the photo. Nobody asked why she'd been sitting on it. They just watched me the way people watch a car accident, waiting to see how bad it would get. My cousin-in-law, Denise, who'd had 2 glasses of wine too many by that point, actually pulled out her own phone and started recording, murmuring to the woman next to her, "This is better than the reunion special." Uncle Frank, who'd never liked confrontation, quietly picked up his plate and moved to a table further away, like distance might exempt him from having an opinion. Ryan looked at the photo, then at me. "Is this real? What she's telling you it means is a lie. Not like this. Tell me about the dinner," Ryan finally said. "Marcus Ellery is the developer I've been trying to land for 8 months. We had dinner at the Cooper River Grill on April 14th. His fiancée was there too, Sophia. She stepped away to take a call right when that photo was taken. I have the reservation. I have my calendar. I have the itemized receipt because I expensed it. Tonight was supposed to be the easy part. If that photo's been altered or taken out of context, she'll find it in the metadata." She had no idea she'd just handed us exactly what we needed. That 4th image showed the same table, the same dinner, 4 seconds earlier. Sophia Ellery, Marcus's fiancée, sat directly across from us, mid-laugh, her hand on the table exactly where the affair photo made it look like only Marcus and I existed. Priya walked me through it over a video call, sharing her screen so I could see the 4 images lined up side by side. "Look at the shadow on the tablecloth here," she said, pointing to the 3rd frame. "That's Sophia's arm, moving out of frame as she stands up to take her call. The image Vanessa showed at the party is frame 2, cropped tight enough to cut Sophia out entirely, but the shadow's still there if you know where to look. Someone either did this carelessly or they didn't expect anyone to examine it this closely. The GPS metadata and camera model match an iPhone registered to someone else entirely. Do you know anyone who might have been at that restaurant that night working for your sister-in-law? Do you remember anyone unusual at the bar the night we had dinner in April? I'll write a statement," she said immediately. "Whatever you need, nobody gets to use my own dinner to ruin your marriage." He also remembered something else. A woman at the bar that same evening, sitting alone with a drink she barely touched, angled toward our table with her phone up more than a woman scrolling social media usually holds it. Colin didn't know her name, but the restaurant kept a reservation log, and one name jumped out immediately. A reservation for one, made under V. Doyle, seated at the bar at 7:40 p.m., 11 minutes before our own reservation began. Vanessa hadn't stumbled onto that photo. She'd gone to that restaurant that night specifically to get it. She followed you to a restaurant, took photos over 11 minutes, cropped the one frame that suited her story, and sat on it for 4 months until the exact night that mattered financially. That's not a woman who suspected an affair. That's a woman building a case. You said the vesting deadline was midnight on your anniversary. If she could get you and Ryan to separate, or even just get Ryan angry enough to walk out before midnight, the marriage clause fails. Her third of the company goes from $1.4 million to $2.1 million. Same for Peter. That's $700,000 of motive, sitting right there in black and white. That's what my marriage was worth to my sister-in-law, cropped down to a 4-second lie. Can we prove she knew about the clause specifically? I asked. Not just the general inheritance, but the exact deadline. Motive with proof of knowledge is a pattern a judge or a room full of your family will believe. Deborah confirmed that all 3 siblings had received a formal letter from the trust administrator 8 months earlier, spelling out the vesting conditions in plain language, including the exact date of our anniversary and the phrase, "Marriage must remain legally intact through this date." Vanessa had signed a return receipt acknowledging she'd read it. She didn't stumble into this, Grace said, sliding the signed receipt across her desk. She had 8 months to plan around a date she knew by heart. Public exposure isn't cruelty here, it's protection. My own mother called, worried, having heard some garbled version of the anniversary party from a cousin 3 times removed, and I had to decide how much to tell her before I was ready to tell everyone at once. I told her only that it wasn't true, and that she'd understand everything soon. Marcus and Sophia both sent over notarized written statements, unprompted, describing the dinner in detail, the topics discussed, the timeline of the evening, Sophia's phone call, and returned to the table. Grace filed copies with her own office, not because we planned to go to court, but because she wanted every piece of this locked down before the party, in case Vanessa tried to produce some new version of events on the spot. I practiced what I was going to say more times than I want to admit, standing in my own bathroom mirror at midnight, trying to find the version of myself that could say it once, and only once, without shaking. She found me by the dessert table and had the audacity to say, "No hard feelings, right? Family should be honest with each other." 2 weeks ago, Vanessa stood up at my anniversary and accused me of having an affair, I said, loud enough for the whole yard to hear. She showed a photo. She never mentioned she was the one who took it. This is a forensic report confirming the photo she showed everyone was cropped specifically to remove my client's fiancé from the frame. This is a signed statement from Sophia Ellery, the fiancé in question, confirming exactly what that dinner actually was. And this, I said, opening the last page, is a copy of your grandfather's trust, Vanessa, along with your own signature acknowledging you received and read the vesting terms 8 months ago, showing exactly how much money you and Peter stood to gain if you managed to break up my marriage before midnight on my anniversary. The yard went dead silent. Somewhere behind me, a hot dog fell off someone's plate onto the grass. $700,000, I said. That's what you tried to buy with a doctored photo and a 4-minute head start at a hotel bar. And the trust administrator has your signature? I didn't twist any of that. You just didn't think anyone would ever put it all in the same room. You planned this, and you were going to let me profit off it too, without even telling me how. She set her glass down on the dessert table hard enough that the rosé sloshed over the rim, and she walked toward her car without looking at any of us, her white dress catching on a lawn chair on the way out, and she didn't even stop to fix it. Ryan put his arm around me in front of everyone left standing in that yard. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from an unknown number sent 30 seconds after Vanessa's car pulled out of the driveway. She already called a lawyer this morning. This isn't the last surprise coming for your anniversary.